Alright guys, welcome back to another installment of Bible Calendar Basics. I apologize, it's been a while since I put up a video. Just been really busy, a lot of different things to take care of, but I'm glad to post this video. So, one of the main challenges I face in posting this video was that there's quite a bit of material to cover. And for those of you who didn't watch the previous video, which deals with the crucifixion of Christ and his second coming, I recommend that you guys go watch that. Because at the end of the video, I said that I would come out with another video discussing and proving the timing of Christ's birth. So I figured that I would leave, because that would cover so much detail, I figured I would break it up into two different series. So this video will just simply cover the year and the month that Christ was born, because just to keep it basic, and then I'll come out with an advanced series on the Bible / Enoch calendar advanced series. So without further ado, let's just jump straight into scripture. Now, just to recap, okay, I also said that Christ was crucified in the year 5500 from the time of Adam. Okay, 5,500 years after Adam, or the creation of the world. Now, that's when he died, but when exactly was he born? Well, Scripture gives us a clue, or the answer. So in Luke chapter 3, verse 23, it says, "And Jesus himself began to be about 30 years of age, being, as was supposed, the son of Joseph, which was the son of Heli." Okay, now this is just a genealogy here proving that Jesus is indeed the Son of God, and he came from the tribe of Judah, which David is descended from. But what I wanted to point out here was verse 23, where it says that Jesus was about 30 years of age. Okay, so they're not rounding here or anything of that sort. I know the popular teaching is that, oh, he was 33 years old and this and that. Well, no, okay. So he was 30 years old, all right, when all this stuff occurred, when Jesus was baptized by John. So when we do the math, 5,500 years minus 30 years brings us to 5,470 years from the time of Adam, meaning that is the year that Christ was born. Okay, so let's map that out. Okay. So 5,500 minus 30. Okay, so this is the year Jesus was born. Okay, now how do we find out the number? How do we find out which month he was born in? Well, thankfully, Luke did a great job in keeping track of chronological order of things. And when they happened during the life of Christ, as proven here in Scripture. Forasmuch as many have taken in hand to set forth in order a declaration of those things which are most surely believed among us, even as they deliver them unto us, which from the beginning were eyewitnesses and ministers of the word. It seemed good to me also, having had perfect understanding of all things from the very first, to write unto thee in order, most excellent Theophilus. Okay, so here Luke is telling us, like, okay, everyone else did a great job in giving their eyewitness account. All their sources are reliable because all the information I'm gathering are from direct eyewitness accounts, okay, not hearsay. And so he took all the evidence that he gathered and he put it in an orderly fashion for us. Okay, now here when we read further, now we're talking about the priest Zechariah and his wife Elizabeth. Now what's interesting here is that it says in verse 5, there was in the days of Herod, the king of Judea, a certain priest named Zacharias of the course of Abiah, and his wife was of the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth. Okay, now here the course of Abiah is mentioned all the way back in First Chronicles. Okay, specifically First Chronicles chapter 24. This is before David dies and he's setting everything in order for his son Solomon to take over. Okay, so here in verse 24, alright, so it says, now these are the divisions of the sons of Aaron, okay? And I'm not going to read all of this, alright, but if you want to read it for yourselves, okay, it's going to start in chapter 24 of First Chronicles, verse 1, and it will end at verse 19. Okay, so chapter 24, verses 1 through 19. And then also we have a short passage here from chapter 23, verse 31. And to offer all burnt sacrifices unto the Yahweh in the Sabbaths, in the new moons, and on the set feasts by number, according to the order commanded unto them, continually before the Yahweh. Now, really, this new moon should be new month, because when God first started mentioning like sacred times and holy days to observe back in the book of Exodus, okay, there were no mentions of any new moons. Alright, if anything, the clear observance of anything new, alright, we find back in the book of Numbers. I'll just briefly go there. Take a small detour here. Okay, so chapter 28 of Numbers, verse 11. And in the beginning of your months ye shall offer a burnt offering unto the Yahweh, 2 young bullocks and 1 ram, 7 lambs of the first year without spot. Alright, so this phrase, beginnings of your months, alright, that would be referring to a new month. Why? Because the beginning of each month is a new month. Alright, so there's no, there's no observances where the Israelites were commanded to observe the new moon, okay, for any type of special holy day. And as a matter of fact, we'll just go and prove that. Okay, so here in 1 Samuel chapter 20, we have the story of David hiding out in the field. Jonathan tells him to hide. All right, so let's see. Let's fast forward to when Jonathan starts speaking with Saul. Okay, so it says that okay, it says in verse 24, so David hid himself in the field, and when the new moon was come, the king sat him down to eat meat. And the king sat upon his seat, as at other times, even upon his seat by the wall. And Jonathan arose, and Abner sat by Saul's side, and David's place was empty. Nevertheless, Saul spoke not anything that day, for he thought, something hath befallen him, he is not clean, surely he is not clean. And it came to pass on the morrow, which was the 2nd day of the month, that David's place was empty. And Saul said unto Jonathan his son, wherefore cometh not the son of Jesse to meat, neither yesterday nor today? Okay, so what we have here, we have something odd going on. So in verse 24, it says, when the new moon was come. And then that's the first day that David was in hiding. Okay? And then after that, verse 27, it says, it came to pass on the morrow, okay, the next day, which was the 2nd day of the month. Okay? David's place was empty. Now, it doesn't tell us exactly which month it was. That doesn't matter. The point is here that the new moon is apparently the first day of the month. And in verse 27, it's the 2nd day of that month as well. Okay, so that tells us that the translators and the scribes are definitely messing around with Scripture. And this is proof that there's no such thing as an observance in Israel that has anything to do with the physical new moon. Okay? If anything, there's an observance of the beginning of each new month. Now, with that out of the way, okay, let's look at the calendar here. So, let's go back to the book of Luke. There's some very important details there. Okay. So, after the angel Gabriel visits Zachariah and Elizabeth and tells them about the birth of John, Zachariah doesn't believe. Okay. So, it says that, verse 24, and after those days, his wife Elizabeth conceived and hid herself 5 months. Okay? And then in verse 26 it says, and in the 6th month, the angel Gabriel was sent from God unto a city of Galilee named Nazareth. All right. So notice it's the definite article the is used, and in the 6 months. So it's not saying 6 months later, okay, or anything like that. So what we can gather from this or deduce is that because this is the 6th month specifically being talked about, 5 months back, okay, here's month 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, Elizabeth conceived in the 1st month. We don't know when exactly, but it was sometime during the course of Abia. Okay, and how do we know this? Well, when we read back in verse 23, it says, "And it came to pass that as soon as the days of his ministration or his service were accomplished, he departed to his own house." All right. So he did his service, and then after that, it says that Elizabeth conceived. Okay. So 5 months later, okay, brings us to the 6th month. And around here, okay, this is when the angel starts talking to Mary. Okay, verse 36. "And behold, thy cousin Elizabeth, she hath also conceived a son in her old age, and this is the 6th month with her who is called barren." So 36, it says the 6th month. And then in verse 26, it says, "and in the 6th month." So 2 witnesses right there clearly stating that and proving that the 6th month is literally being talked about, and 5 months earlier was when Elizabeth conceived. Okay, so then when we continue to read further, all right, in verse 56 it says, "And Mary abode with her about 3 months and returned to her own house." Okay, verse 57, Elizabeth gives birth to John. So here we're in the 6th month. Mary stays with her 1, 2, 3 months. Elizabeth conceives sometime here. Okay, now this is a special month for John to be born in, because the 25th day of the 9th month, which is also known as Kislev, okay, or Kislu, depending which translation you look at. All right, this is also the time of Hanukkah, which always occurs on the 25th day of the 9th month. So John was born on a significant month. Now, this is also the 3rd month of Mary's pregnancy. So when we count 6 months later, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This would land the month that Jesus was born in. Jesus was born in the 3rd month, another special month. Why? Because on the 15th day of the 3rd month is the feast of Firstfruits. So, was Jesus born on the day of Firstfruits? I don't know. Okay, that's not what this video is going to prove. I just wanted to show the year and the month that Jesus Christ was born. Okay, so in conclusion, to wrap up this video, we learned that Elizabeth conceived in the 1st month and birthed John the Baptist in the 9th month. Okay? And we also learn that Mary birthed Christ, okay? Christ Jesus, no, not raw, okay? In the 3rd month. You guys got that? So, John was born 9th month in the 5,469th year from creation. Jesus was born on the 3rd month in the 5,470th year from creation. Okay. 30 years later, okay, brings us into the year that Christ was crucified onto the cross. Okay? So, in the next video, in another series, I'll go more into advanced detail, getting into the actual week and day that Christ was born.